Chapter 1-1 Infinity represents infinity. Whoosh! A soft sound was heard, followed by an arrow shooting through the air, drawing a graceful arc before breaking off a thumb-thick branch from the locust tree in the distance. Whoosh! 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 As the branch fell, 3 more soft sounds followed, with 3 arrows arriving almost simultaneously, intercepting the falling branch and precisely splitting it into 4. 70 meters away, comparable to Olympic athletes in my past life, but unfortunately. The speaker was a teenager dressed as a hunter, looking about 15 or 16 years old, with dark skin, a lean build, thick eyebrows, and big eyes, giving off an honest feeling. Yet, if you looked closely into his eyes, there was a striking sense of incongruity. The young man held an aged-looking horn bow, which was well maintained, with the bow's body glistening. His right arm was still trembling, clearly indicating that the 4 arrows just fired had put quite a strain on him. System. The teenager silently chanted in his mind, and the next moment, a semi-transparent panel appeared before him. Host. Zhang Lin. Skill. Bow technique full level. Skill points. Infinity. A very simple panel, just 3 lines up and down, without divisions like power, speed, intelligence, and no realm divisions either. It could be said to have the Syrian decor style of the panel world. The young man was named Zhang Lin, a transmigrant who, for not following traffic rules, rode a scooter through a red light and got hit by a truck, dying on the spot. Upon waking, he found himself possessing the body of a young hunter also named Zhang Lin. Through the lingering memories of his predecessor, he knew this world was similar to ancient Huasha from his past life. The village he lived in was called Lower River Village, under the jurisdiction of Black Mountain County, and beyond that, he didn't know, as one couldn't expect a boy who had never left Lower River Village to know much else. In his memory, the village was struck by drought, it hadn't rained for a full 3 months, fields were dying, and there was a lack of food at home. Even the wild beasts in the nearby mountains had moved deeper due to the drought. Desperately, his predecessor went deeper into the mountains to hunt but encountered a bear, fell down a slope in panic, and was then replaced by Zhang Lin from Earth. Fortunately, Zhang Lin, the transmigrant, also had the necessary golden finger awaken. Especially upon first seeing that infinity symbol on the system panel, Zhang Lin was beyond excited. Infinity is a mathematical symbol, knowledge learned in high school, representing infinity. The symbol, infinity, is not uncommon, and neither are skill points. What was unusual was the combination of the two, which meant possessing infinite skill points. What are skill points? Anyone who's played games or read system novels knows that with enough skill points, just a little click, and you can soar to great heights. Zhang Lin was so excited he immediately maxed out the bow technique, skill originally possessed by his predecessor, which led to the spectacle of arrows shooting branches seen earlier. Nearly 100 meters away, an arrow shot through a thumb-thick branch, and as it fell, 3 more arrows were fired, splitting it into 4. Such bow technique was simply miraculous, worthy of Yang Yuji's reincarnation. But Zhang Lin soon discovered the flaw of the system panel. Honing skills never just involved improvements in technique, it also included physical training. A shooter capable of executing such amazing bow technique couldn't possibly be drained after just 4 arrows. Reality isn't a game. It doesn't balance things by making shooters high attack, low defense. In reality, every archer even without their bow could easily become a formidable fighter. Just think of Guan Eryi, who was once a cavalry archer. I thought it was like Deep Blue skill points, but it's merely an experience boost. Zhang Lin sighed, feeling a bit disappointed. I don't even know what kind of world this is. The predecessor was just a mountain boy, his view limited to Lower River Village. He didn't even know which dynasty, let alone anything beyond that. Zhang Lin rested on the spot, continually massaging his right arm to relieve fatigue. It took almost half an hour for his arm to regain some strength. He stood up and retrieved the 4 arrows. There were only 5 arrows in the quiver, which were all of his predecessor's possessions. Losing one was already distressing. After another half-day of rest, once his arm had nearly fully recovered, Zhang Lin picked up the hunted prey and began to return. A wild pheasant, 2 wild rabbits, and a muntjac. Such spoils were considered abundant, something his predecessor could never have achieved. But now, aided by full-level archery, it was all effortless. Rushing all the way, they didn't walk out of Black Mountain until the sun was nearly setting. Lower River Village was so named for its proximity to the river. Upstream was Upper River Village, but the entire river had dried up due to drought. They lived off the mountains and water, farming during the seasons and hunting during leisure, Yet drought took the game deeper into Black Mountain, making it harder and riskier to hunt. Had it not been for the severe food shortage, his predecessor wouldn't have risked entering, eventually leading to Zhang Lin taking over. Stepping in the sunset, Zhang Lin walked into the village. Da Lin, you're not dead. Uncle Zhang, the mountain god blessed me. I got lost chasing this beast but finally managed to bring it down. Zhang Lin deliberately swung the muntjac on his shoulder while speaking, showing a smug smile. Wow, that's a big muntjac. It'll last for half a month. I'm glad you're safe. You were gone for 3 days, and everyone thought you were dead. You better go home and have a look. Uncle Zhang's eyes flickered as he spoke. He wanted to say something but held back in the end. Zhang Lin's expression shifted. He did not stay, striding towards his own courtyard. Before getting close, he saw villagers coming and going from his yard, a bamboo pole at the entrance with a white cloth banner hanging on it, usually displayed only when someone had died in the family. Zhang Lin's sudden appearance immediately froze the smiles on the villagers' faces. Da Lin, you're not dead. Da Lin's back. How's that possible? Wasn't it said he fell off a cliff and died? Stayed in Black Mountain for 3 days and still came back alive. It started with surprise, then turned to awkwardness. The villagers in his home, one by one, avoided looking Zhang Lin in the eye. Emotionless, Zhang Lin pushed past the villagers inside. The otherwise quiet courtyard was now filled with more than half of the village, a large stove made from earth bricks burning fiercely at the center, a large iron pot atop wafting an aroma. Zhang Lin glanced again at the beam beneath the eaves, where wooden hooks originally holding cured meat and grain were now empty. Chapter 2-2, Funerals Must Have Funeral Money. Second brother. A small, thin boy ran over from the crowd and hugged Zhang Lin's leg tightly, his eyes brimming with tears. I knew you wouldn't die, second brother. They all said you were dead and were going to hold a funeral for you, even have a feast. Zhang Lin lowered his head and patted the head of the boy, Zhang Shi, whose body was small like a little radish, and threw all the prey on him onto the ground, smiling as he said, How could your second brother die? I've come back and brought lots of game. I'll roast some meat for you later. Then he raised his head and swept his gaze across the villagers in the yard, his smile retracting, turning extremely cold. Funeral, feast, might as well call it eating the family into extinction. With their parents gone long ago, it was only Zhang Shi left. As soon as something happened to me, these people came sniffing around like hyenas. Didn't they realize that if I really died, the leftover grain at home would be the only thing Zhang Shi could survive on? With Zhang Lin's gaze sweeping over, everyone's faces showed awkwardness, averting their eyes, subconsciously hiding the bowls and chopsticks behind their backs. Well, Dallin, we were just being considerate. Everyone thought you were dead, so we came to organize a funeral for you, just to make it respectable. The speaker was Lin San, technically the previous Zhang Lin's uncle, who had watched him grow up. Yes, we meant well, really. Once someone spoke, the other villagers began to defend themselves. They say the law doesn't blame the masses, and besides, we didn't know you weren't dead. It was just a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. It's certainly best that you came back alive, Dallin. Lin Laosin, hurry and take down the white funeral banner at the door, and everyone, if you have nothing to do, go home. Don't hamper the reunion of Dallin and his brother. Lu Eri, the village elder, spoke up, making a final decision. Lin Laosin quickly nodded. I'm on it. Zhang Lin moved his foot, directly blocking the courtyard door, halting Lin Laosin's path. Dallin, what are you doing? Zhang Lin's cold smile vanished, replaced by a warm tone. Turns out it was a misunderstanding. But since the banners are up and the food's been eaten, shouldn't you hand over the funeral money? Funeral money refers to the monetary gift for the funeral. Since you attended my funeral, it's only right to hand over the funeral money. Lin Laosin's smile stiffened, and even Lu Eri, who had just spoken, was breathing rapidly, looking at Zhang Lin in complete disbelief. The old Zhang Lin wasn't like this, honest and good-natured, wouldn't say a word even if he suffered a bit, unlike now, asking everyone for funeral money. You're not dead, what funeral money do you need? Get out the way, why are you blocking my path? A drunken voice came from the main room, followed by a large, burly man shoving aside the villagers right in front of him. Even these shameless villagers hurriedly stepped aside, showing expressions of reverence and disgust toward this man. Hey, Dallin is back, truly the mountain god's blessing. I thought you had died up in the Black Mountain. Good thing you didn't, I'd lose a playmate if you had. Memories from his former life sprang into Zhang Lin's mind. This man was named Zhang Kun, son of Zhang Eri from the village, and he was of a senior generation, akin to a grandfather to some kids, yet he never did what elders should do. He relied on his size to exploit the villagers. It's an exaggeration to say he feasted on them like fish and meat, but he often got drunk, hit people, kicked wide widows' doors, and assaulted handicapped individuals. The villagers of Lower River Village were angry with Zhang Kun but dared not speak up, as they genuinely couldn't defeat him. He was also a reckless fighter, often going for deadly blows. Breaking arms and legs was ordinary. In this era of inadequate medical treatment, breaking a limb could indeed lead to a lifetime of disability. Zhang Kun drunkenly approached Zhang Lin, towering over him to look down, yawning as the strong stench of alcohol hit Zhang Lin in the face. "Good thing you're alive. Get out of the way like a sensible dog. I'm off home to sleep," Zhang Kun cursed as he spoke. As he spoke, he stretched out a hand to shove Zhang Lin aside, but for a moment, he couldn't move him. Zhang Lin looked directly at Zhang Kun. "Funeral money." Zhang Kun showed anger, and his originally flushed face from drinking turned even redder from Zhang Lin's refusal to give in, and he swung his fist straight at Zhang Lin's face. "Damn you for showing no respect." Zhang Lin grabbed the machete at his waist without hesitation and swung it at Zhang Kun's neck. The moment the machete appeared, Zhang Kun reacted, dodging subconsciously. But because he was mid-swing and drunk, his body was too sluggish to move quickly. He barely managed to shift so that his neck wasn't severed, but the machete still cut from his left shoulder blade to his chest. SSSSH. Ah! A scream rang out as bright red blood gushed, and Zhang Kun collapsed on the ground. The villagers in the yard also shrieked in fright, some timid ones retreating and hiding, eyes filled with fear when looking at Zhang Lin. They really hadn't expected Zhang Lin to actually take action, and that machete was aimed to kill. If Zhang Kun hadn't dodged at the last minute, his neck would have been half chopped off. Zhang Lin took a step forward expressionlessly, squatted down, and patted Zhang Kun's face with the machete. "Funeral money. The fearless intimidate the reckless intimidate those who value life." Once the bully, Zhang Kun, faced with Zhang Lin's knife, was now reduced to cowering in fear. Galen, don't be impulsive. We're from the same village, we grew up together, don't kill me. Zhang Kun trembled all over, urine stench wafting from his crotch. "I don't want to say it a third time." Zhang Lin's voice was deep. All right, I'll give it." Zhang Kun endured the pain, took out a purse from his bosom, and intended to take out some copper coins, but Zhang Lin took the whole pouch. "Get lost." Zhang Kun opened his mouth but in the end didn't dare ask for it back, only covered his wound as he crawled up and quickly left. Zhang Lin glanced at the others in the yard. Wherever his gaze fell, people showed terror, afraid to resist. "Funeral money." Zhang Lin repeated the two words, but this time they seemed to carry a kind of magic, making them dare not refuse. After all, the puddle of blood on the ground was still glaringly bright. Some left 2 coins, some 1, leaving various amounts behind. The sting may hurt, but it's better than getting slashed. Once the last person left, there were over 80 copper coins on the table. "Ha! A bunch of bullies who pick on the weak." Zhang Lin spat, full of disdain. Chapter 3-3. Golden chicken crowing at the moon. "Stone, go pluck the chicken's feathers. I'll stew it for you later." Okay, second brother, I'll do it now." Zhang Shi excitedly lifted the colorful wild chicken and patted the dead roe deer, making exclamations of delight. After Zhang Lin put the copper coins from the table into his money pouch, he looked at the little sprout in front of him with a complex expression. Zhang Shi, his predecessor's younger brother, his real brother. The predecessor had 4 brothers in total, and he was the second, which is why Zhang Shi called him second brother. The predecessor's mother died in childbirth while giving birth to the 4th child, both lives lost. The father and oldest brother also encountered a mountain tiger while hunting last year, leaving only the predecessor and the 3rd brother Zhang Shi to rely on each other. If Zhang Lin hadn't transmigrated, this time the predecessor would have died in the Black Mountain, and the family would have been left barren by others, and 5-year-old Zhang Shi probably wouldn't survive either. Lost family and home, this is true loss indeed. This made Zhang Lin feel even more the hardships of living in this world. Zhang Lin could feel the predecessor's unease about Zhang Shi at the moment of his death, which is also why he could quickly accept Zhang Shi. "Since I've taken your body, I will also bear your responsibilities. I will raise little Shi to adulthood," Zhang Lin thought to himself. "Second brother, the chicken is plucked." Coming. Zhang Lin stopped thinking further and stepped over. A poor child runs the household early. Although he's only taking charge of chores early, 5-year-old Zhang Shi effortlessly completed the task of plucking the wild chicken's feathers, only gutting remained. The beautiful wild chicken feathers were also collected by Zhang Shi, shining with a myriad of colors in the sunlight. Luckily it was a rooster. If it were a hen, the feathers wouldn't be so beautiful. Zhang Lin took a kitchen knife from the kitchen, and in a few swift motions gutted it and chopped it into pieces. Go, wash the blood foam off with water again. I'll handle those 2 rabbits, and then we'll stew a pot of golden chicken crowing at the moon, Zhang Lin instructed. Children love it when adults assign them tasks because it makes them feel grown up, and besides, they would be eating meat soon. Thinking of this, Zhang Shi drooled, continually imagining how delicious second brother's golden chicken crowing at the moon would be. Zhang Lin found a rope, tied the rabbit shot through the head, and hung it on the rack to be better skinned. Zhang Lin had never done such a thing, but the predecessor had many memories of skinning rabbits with his father and brothers, so he wasn't unfamiliar. In a moment, he had skinned the entire hide off. He didn't intend to throw away the hide, planning to process it with saltpeter later, which could be used to make a cap or shoes. He chopped the skinned rabbit meat into pieces on the cutting board, washed the blood foam off with clean water, and then dumped it into the pot along with the chicken. Forget about dry frying or stir frying, there was no oil, no chilies, and no seasonings. The best way was to stew them together. Luckily, for Zhang Lin's funeral arrangements, the villagers had built a stove in the courtyard with yellow earth, brought water, and delivered firewood, enough to last half a month. Zhang Shi was still young, and Zhang Lin couldn't cook, only knew a chaotic stew. All the chicken and rabbit meat went into the pot, along with water, salt, and wild vegetables, and the pot was covered. Once heated on high, half an hour later, an aroma burst forth. It wasn't particularly fragrant, mainly because both of them didn't have much oil in their bodies. Even boiled meat in plain water would taste delicious today, not to mention salt was added. Second brother, can we eat yet? Zhang Shi had asked this at least 10 times, eyes full of longing, constantly swallowing saliva, and his stomach growling. Zhang Lin lifted the lid, and steam billowed out, bringing with it the unique aroma of meat. Gurgle tilde, gurgle tilde. The 2 brothers glanced at each other and then began to mock each other. Zhang Lin used chopsticks to pick up a piece from the pot, took a bite and chewed. The meat was tender and salted. The taste is all right, let's eat. He stuffed another half into Zhang Shi's mouth and picked up a ladle to scoop into bowls. Each had a bowl, paired with the leftover chestnut rice from earlier. The taste was delicious. Though it was just simple boiled meat in water, with added salt and wild vegetables, it wasn't bad. Moreover, neither of them had any oil in their bodies, even a little meat was a delicacy, no room for much refinement. Don't rush, be careful not to choke on the bones, there's enough in the pot for both of us. Zhang Lin patted little Shi's head, fearing he might swallow bones too quickly. In his previous life, he had a little nephew who choked on a bone, and in a short time, his face turned blue. If not discovered in time, he might not have made it. Yum, so good. Zhang Lin gnawed on the meat while contemplating future plans. He didn't intend to stay in Lower River Village. The predecessor hadn't left for over a decade, but now that Zhang Lin was here, he naturally wanted to explore. Besides, carrying a system panel, staying in Lower River Village would only waste it. Only larger, more prosperous places could let it shine. Moreover, Zhang Lin wanted to see if this world truly had transcendent power, as the novels described. After eating and drinking, the 2 leaned against door panels, basking in the sun, with little Shi nearly falling asleep. For several days, he had been living in fear at home, and later the shameless villagers came to take advantage, leaving him frightened. Now, full and satisfied, he just wanted to sleep well. Zhang Lin reached out and shook little Shi awake. Don't sleep here, you'll catch a cold. Second brother, I'm not sleeping. Zhang Shi widened his eyes, shook his head vigorously, forcing himself to stay awake. He was afraid that if he fell asleep, second brother would disappear again. He didn't want to hide in a corner of the bed, trembling alone at night, or open his eyes to people telling him his second brother was gone. A child's thoughts were written all over his face, and Zhang Lin naturally saw through little Shi's concerns. A touch of compassion flashed in his heart, and he stroked the bigger-looking head due to malnutrition. Don't worry, second brother won't leave, I'll take you with me wherever I go. Come on, let's handle that roe deer. Saying this, Zhang Lin abruptly stood up, patted the dust off his pants, and walked towards the corner of the courtyard where the roe deer lay. Zhang Shi clambered up with a gurgle, excitedly following closely, no longer sleepy. The roe deer's hide was well preserved, having been shot through the eye by Zhang Lin. Unfortunately, its hide wasn't worth much. Zhang Shi tugged the rope, and Zhang Lin exerted his strength. Together, they hoisted the roe deer up. This sort of thing would usually be left to a professional butcher to skin and gut. Doing it themselves, lack of tools aside, easily damage the outer hide. Often, prey's hides were worth more than the meat. Chapter 4-4 Sailing all night. After a busy half-day, the entire roe deer was finally dissected. The meat was chopped into pieces and placed in a ceramic basin on the side. As for the hide, it was hardly presentable. The whole hide was relatively intact, but the incisions were crooked and there were many damages. Even if it were sold, it wouldn't fetch a good price. What a pity, if Butcher Zhang had handled it, he wouldn't have wasted the hide. Zhang Lin sighed. Lower River Village's only butcher was surnamed Zhang. He had just been here for the feast, and Zhang Lin was too lazy to call him for help. Go, light the fire. All right. Although he was very tired and wanted to sleep, Little Stone obediently went to light the fire. He also knew that the purpose of lighting the fire was to smoke the roe deer meat a bit, so that it could be preserved for a longer time. While Little Stone was lighting the fire, Zhang Lin ran outside to a nearby hill to chop some pine and cypress branches to bring back. The sun had completely set, and there was no afterglow left, only a few stars in the sky. However, the moon was very bright, its silvery white light coldly spreading over the earth, enabling Zhang Lin to barely make out his path in the night. Due to a lack of nutrition, this body obviously suffered from night blindness, becoming nearly blind at night. This was why the villagers of Lower River Village believed Zhang Lin had died in the Black Mountain. Being unable to see at night, surviving a night in Black Mountain was considered lucky, let alone surviving 3 nights. If it weren't for the bright moonlight tonight, coupled with the short distance, Zhang Lin wouldn't have come out. He pulled a machete from his waist and chopped down the pine and cypress branches. Soon, he was carrying a large bundle of branches back. Little Stone had already lit the fire, sitting on a small stool yawning, waiting for Zhang Lin. His big head nodded like a pecking insect, making one feel a strange sense of amusement upon seeing it. You go to sleep first, leave the rest to me. Insufficient sleep is not good for a child's development, especially since Little Stone was already severely malnourished. Zhang Lin didn't want to leave him with any long-term effects. Okay, second brother, you should rest early too. Zhang Shi stood up, yawning, and went to the main room to sleep. Zhang Lin then closed the door and tossed the pine and cypress branches onto the fire. A moment later, thick white smoke rose up, enveloping the pieces of meat hanging above the beams. Smoking meat was an ancient method of preserving it. If they could have added a bit of salt to the meat and some grapefruit peels to the fire, it would have been even better, but unfortunately conditions did not allow for it. After about an hour, Zhang Lin, yawning continuously, turned and went back to the main room to sleep, not caring whether the smoking was done. Previously, it was mentioned that the original person's mother died early, leaving 3 men to live together barely concerned with comfort. As long as they survived, it was enough. So, upon entering the main room, one immediately saw the adobe bed built in the southwest corner with straw and clay. A layer of soft padding, made of straw stretched across the bed. Little Stone was fast asleep, wrapped in a blanket made from hemp cloth of unknown age, body curled up, muttering something in his sleep, lost in some dream. It was fortunate it was just the beginning of autumn and the weather was just starting to cool. Otherwise, this environment would likely not withstand the winter. Zhang Lin yawned and lay down on the straw-padded, soft padding, quickly falling asleep amid the rustling sound in his ears. The day had been too eventful, crossing over, hunting, killing. In the past life, one could live 20 or 30 years and never experience even one of these things. Too exhausting. Zhang Lin woke up in the morning because of a pressing need to urinate, and for some reason, he spent the whole night dreaming of rowing a boat in the sea, unable to row out. Damn, still wetting the bed at this age. Little Stone's face turned red as he loudly defended himself, it wasn't me. If it wasn't you, was it me? I mean, why was I dreaming of rowing a boat all night? Turns out it was because of you, you little rascal. At this age, you still wet the bed. How will you propose to a wife in the future? Don't let a puddle scare off your bride-to-be. Zhang Lin mocked. You, HMPH. Little Stone turned his head away in anger, ignoring Zhang Lin. Yet his ears, almost transparent with redness, amused Zhang Lin greatly. After a bit of playing around, the two got up, fetched a basin of clean water to wash their faces and rinse their mouths, then reheated and continued eating the leftover, golden chicken crowing at the moon, from yesterday. Despite eating such greasy food early in the morning, the two weren't put off in the slightest. Their bodies were starved of fat, with every cell crying out for meat. Stone, later go chop some more pine and cypress branches to keep smoking the meat. I've got something to take care of outside. Zhang Lin put down his bowl and gave instructions. There were pine and cypress trees behind the house, and smoking meat wasn't a complicated task. It was something he could do himself as a child. Okay, second brother, come back early. Little Stone wasn't mad at Zhang Lin anymore. Brothers fighting and making up was quite normal. Zhang Lin stood up, hung the machete at his waist, and stepped out the door. The knife, second brother, the knife. Oh, you can use the kitchen knife to chop, I still need the machete. Need it indeed. With his thin arms and legs, a couple of meals weren't going to recover his strength. He had offended most of the lower river village yesterday, and not carrying a blade outside was simply unsafe. He even strapped the ox horn bow on his back. Compared to the machete, Zhang Lin trusted his full-level bow technique more. Uncle Cauliflower, heading out. As soon as he stepped outside, he saw Uncle Cauliflower, who lived not far from his own house. He was one of the villagers who came to feast yesterday. Uncle Cauliflower also saw Zhang Lin. His footsteps, initially moving forward, suddenly froze, unsure whether to continue or retreat. But it was too late, so he forced a smile and greeted Zhang Lin. That. Oh, it's you, Big Lin. Yes, heading out to the fields. Are you going hunting? The expression on his face could not be more awkward, uncertain whether to smile or cry. Yesterday, Zhang Lin's unhesitating knife strike had frightened him, not to mention the heartache from the large coin given as funeral money when leaving. Not going hunting, I'm going to Zhang Kun's house for a look, Zhang Lin replied with a smile. Upon hearing this, Uncle Cauliflower's face turned pale, feeling even more uncomfortable and increasingly fearful of Zhang Lin. Yesterday he had made a big cut on the person's chest, and today he's heading to their house. Is he planning to leave them no way out? As Zhang Lin talked, he continued striding towards the western end of the village, greeting the villagers he encountered along the way. But all their gazes toward Zhang Lin had changed from what they were previously as Big Lin, now becoming tinged with a bit of fear, just like towards Zhang Kun before. Chapter 5-5. Eldest sister-in-law, I don't kill women. Hiss. Damn, be gentle. With a soft growl, a loud slap followed immediately. Even though Zhang Kun was injured, this slap wasn't something a rural woman could withstand. Zhang Lu spit out a mouthful of bloody phlegm, threw the cloth in her hand onto the table, put her hands on her hips, and cursed aggressively, damn you, always hitting me. If you've got the guts, go chop down Zhang Lin. All you're good for is acting tough at home, but you got chopped down by a kid in a real situation. You're such a loser. Her words directly hit Zhang Kun's sore spot, and in an instant, Zhang Kun's eyes turned blood red, like an angry wolf. I'm gonna damn well kill you. As he spoke, he tried to get up from the lounge chair, but was held down by two other scoundrel friends beside him. These two weren't good types either, known as the Three Scourges, with Zhang Kun. The one on the left, as thin as a stick, nicknamed Thin Monkey, had a lecherous face. The one on the right, short in stature, with a long scar at the corner of his eye, nicknamed Scarface, had a gloomy and vicious look. Kun, bro, don't get angry, don't get angry. It's bad for your health. Yes, bad for your health. Sis wasn't intentional. Zhang Lu snorted coldly, twisting her waist as she walked toward the main room, unwilling to stay there. Zhang Lu was Zhang Kun's wife. Compared to other, strong, women in Lower River Village, she was taller, more voluptuous, her large hips swaying as she walked, her bosom full and round. Though the exposed skin from work was a bit tanned, it didn't detract from her beauty, making her a rare beauty in Lower River Village. It also fit the saying, good men have no good wives, bad men marry tender women. Slap. What are you looking at, damn it? Zhang Kun slapped the back of the head of the Thin Monkey, on the left, angrily admonishing him. Thin Monkey didn't get angry, just laughed. Sis is just too pretty, isn't she? Get lost. Zhang Kun roared like a man-eating tiger, breathing heavily, eyes bloodshot, hunting geese all day, but got pecked in the eyes by one. That little brat ambushed me. Once I'm healed, I'll make him wish he were dead. Humph. Kun, you don't need to do it yourself. I'll grab him now for you, let you deal with him. First, I'll break his limbs, make him crawl like a dog and apologize to you. Scarface had a look of ferocity all over his face. Yeah, and his brother too. We'll bring him over. There's people in the city who like little boys like that, we can sell him and make a good amount. Thin Monkey nodded in agreement. Bang, a dull sound came, followed by the courtyard gate being kicked open. The three instinctively looked up, only to be greeted by two black dots. Whoosh, whoosh, ah, my hand, my leg, Zhang Lin. Zhang Lin strode coldly into the courtyard, holding a bow in his left hand, his right hand slightly trembling. It was right to come this time. Before even entering, I heard these three plotting how to harm us brothers. The movies taught it right, eliminate evil thoroughly. Zhang Lin originally came just to borrow something from Zhang Kun, but didn't expect to overhear the three scourges plotting against him and his brother. Wasn't this something? Of course, he had to strike first. Without some skills, facing three big men would mean death. Zhang Shi was just a child, and Zhang Lin himself hadn't fully developed. All he had was his full-level archery skill, and his body was as weak as a twig. A few arrows would exhaust him, and a direct confrontation might not be in their favor. Seeing Zhang Lin kick the door open, Zhang Kun and his two cohorts paled. After all, they were plotting harm. Thin Monkey's eyes darted. Holding his pierced right hand, he quickly ran towards the courtyard wall, trying to climb over it. Ha! Trying to run. Zhang Lin sneered, raised his bow and arrow again, accompanied by a clear sound, the arrow pierced through Thin Monkey's chest. Thin Monkey, who was trying to escape, looked down at the protruding arrowhead in disbelief, his eyes filled with confusion and fear, then collapsed to the ground, dead. Such a ruthless scene left Zhang Kun and Scarface's faces deathly pale. Big Lin, it's a misunderstanding, all a misunderstanding. Zhang Kun, scared, his head covered in sweat, looked fearfully at the frail Zhang Lin. Really, did I hear wrong, or am I hard of hearing? Zhang Lin's tone was full of sarcasm, his gaze icy. Whoosh, a black line flashed, and like with Thin Monkey, the arrow pierced through Zhang Kun's chest, giving him no chance to explain and killing him with an arrow. Scarface screamed, utterly terrified, trying to get up and run, but unfortunately, his calf had just been pierced by Zhang Lin, the pain too intense to take a step. No. Whoosh, one arrow, killing blow. Full-level archery never disappoints. Zhang Lin exhaled, his expression somewhat complicated as he stood in the courtyard. Three bodies lay awkwardly sprawled in the yard, one in the corner, one on the lounge chair, and one on the ground. Zhang Lin did not feel the imagined disgust or fear, it was much like hunting, perhaps simpler. The only shock was to his worldview from his previous life. After all, he grew up in a safe, law-abiding society where he had never seen death, let alone murder. Clang! Zhang Lin suddenly turned and raised his bow, stepped over to Zhang Kun's corpse, and forcefully pulled out the arrow from his chest, then notched it and aimed at the door. Come out! Don't kill me! Don't kill me! A trembling voice came from the main room, followed by Zhang Lu peeking out fearfully. Seeing the three bodies in the courtyard, she collapsed, a smell of urine seeping from under her skirt. Zhang Lin slightly lowered the bow and spoke more gently. Don't be foolish, big sister-in-law. I don't kill women. Go, bring Zhang Kun's stashed money, and don't say there isn't any. Yes, I'll get it now. Seizing a chance to live, Zhang Lu scrambled off the ground, struggling up on her third attempt, and rushed into the main room, rummaging through who knows where. Zhang Lin slowly lowered the bow, retrieved 5 arrows from the bodies, and headed to the west room, soon emerging with an arrow quiver. Zhang Kun was a hunter, but rarely hunted. Poor in skills, though rarely hunting, he had accumulated 18 arrows. Zhang Lin came this time mainly to borrow arrows from Zhang Kun, but didn't expect things to escalate so, though his purpose was achieved. Chapter 6-6 Arson and Murder. Fire! Fire! Come quickly to put out the fire. With a loud shout, soon the entire lower river village became bustling, with villagers each shouting loudly, carrying wooden buckets, and bringing water to fight the fire. Zhang Lin watched the scene before him with cold eyes, the firelight flickering in his pupils, and finally he turned away expressionlessly. How did the fire start? It's not even mealtime, there's no way Zhang Kun's wife would be lighting a fire now. Villager Zhang Sheng wiped the sweat off his forehead, full of confusion. Did any of you see Zhang Kun and his wife come out? Another villager looked around but did not find Zhang Kun. Let's not worry about that now, let's put out the fire quickly before it spreads. Yes, yes, put out the fire first. The fire was quickly brought under control, but it was autumn with dry air, and the fire came suddenly, with the houses mainly made of thatch and wooden frames, so even if the fire was extinguished, they were mostly burnt. A few brave ones went inside to search and soon ran out screaming, vomiting repeatedly. It's Jong-kun and his wife. There are also 2 others, from the body shapes they look like Skinny Monkey and Scar. All dead, all dead. In one courtyard, a total of 4 people were dead, enough to horrify anyone, and what's more, they were 4 charred bodies, with the smell of burnt flesh making people nauseated. How could they all be dead? When there was a fire, wouldn't they run outside? Moreover, there wasn't even a shout for help. Yu-jen, your house is closest to Jong-kun's, did you hear any shouting? Yu-jen, a dark-skinned middle-aged man, seemed to have remembered something when he was asked and his face changed, subconsciously glanced in the direction Zhang-lin had left, and finally shook his head vigorously. No, I didn't hear anything, didn't see anything, I still have some work in the fields, I'm leaving now. After saying this, he hurried off, as if a snake was chasing him. Look at him, scared, why run, is there a tiger or something? Maybe there really is a tiger, I saw Big Forest come here this morning. The voices suddenly quieted. The crowd wasn't foolish, a fire started for no reason, and not a single person escaped, with 4 people dead inside. If there was nothing fishy about it, even a ghost wouldn't believe it. The people among the crowd who went to the feast yesterday all looked pale, and those who didn't go were also visibly shocked. How could Zhang-lin, in their eyes synonymous with honesty and sincerity, become like this? This is murder. You go and deal with Jong-kun and the others' bodies first. After all, they're from the village, and deaths die with people, I'll go check on Big Forest's house. A villager in the crowd sighed, put down his water bucket, and walked towards Zhang-lin's house. Big Forest, it's your Uncle Taro, open the door. Coming. Zhang Shi trotted over with his short legs, pulled the latch and opened the courtyard door. Uncle Taro, Shi, where's your brother? Uncle Taro touched Little Stone's head, smiling as he spoke. Little Stone turned and shouted loudly towards the kitchen. Second brother, Uncle Taro is looking for you. Uncle Taro glanced around and finally his gaze rested on the arrow quiver in the corner, his expression slightly changed, and he sighed heavily. Zhang-lin also came out of the kitchen at this time, holding roasted deer meat in his hand. Uncle Taro, why are you here? In his previous memories, Uncle Taro had always had a great relationship with his late father, and after his father and elder brother met with mishap in the mountains, he often supported the 2 brothers, regarded as the best person to them in the entire lower river village. Uncle Taro was straightforward, pointing at the arrow quiver and directly asking, Jong-kun's house caught fire, and 4 people died. Did you do it? Zhang-lin paused for a moment. If they didn't die, my brother and I would be in trouble. Uncle Taro also knew Jong-kun's 3 harms, traits, and naturally knew Zhang-lin was telling the truth, for any words he merely sighed. Uncle Taro, I know what you mean. People don't provoke me, I don't provoke them. Jong-kun intended to harm me, so I acted, I won't harm others, and if you don't trust, you can choose to report to the authorities. For reporting to the authorities, Uncle Taro pretended not to hear, mainly because it was absolutely impossible. Lower River Village is so remote that the court's officers only come annually for tax collection, otherwise they never come to this godforsaken place. Even if they did, it would only be a formality, no one would offend Zhang-lin over a few scoundrels, deaths, they dare not. Moreover, Lower River Village's population is diverse, not a village composed of the same surname or clan, but from people who fled and gathered here 100 years ago, meaning there are no clans or clan elders. People don't report, and officials don't investigate. Report to the authorities. It's useless. Besides, Stone and I plan to leave Lower River Village, continued Zhang-lin. What? You're leaving? To where? Uncle Taro exclaimed. Lower River Village is too small. I want to see the outside world, and just take this chance to leave. If I don't go, many people won't sleep well, Zhang-lin said with a smile. Uncle Taro ignored Zhang-lin's subsequent jest, his face full of urgency. Stone is so small, how could he follow you on a long journey? And do you think it's easy out there? It's not like home outside, here I can support you, but out there. Uncle Taro, Zhang-lin firmly interjected, I've made up my mind. I also want to explore, not wanting to stay cooped up in this small mountain village all my life. I'll come back to see you once I've made a name for myself. Uncle Taro wanted to say more but ultimately could only sigh helplessly. He knew Zhang Lin was no longer the same as before. The old Zhang Lin would never have done something like killing an arson, or involving 4 people. Take care of Stone. If you can't make it outside, just come back. As long as I have something to eat, you brothers won't starve. Yes, thank you, Uncle Taro. This ended their conversation. Uncle Taro patted Little Stone's head, sighed, and turned to leave. Little Stone looked up at Zhang Lin and asked, "Second brother, are we really leaving?" "Don't want to go." "No, wherever you go, second brother, I'll go." "When are we leaving?" "Tomorrow. Go deliver these innards and deer meat to Uncle Taro's house. If he doesn't want them, tell him we're leaving tomorrow, and it'd be a waste if they go uneaten." "Okay." Little Stone trotted over with his short legs, carrying a wooden basin filled with innards and meat towards Uncle Taro. Though this basin weighed about 6 or 7 pounds, it was still somewhat difficult for Little Stone. Thankfully, the distance wasn't far, otherwise Zhang Lin wouldn't have let him do it. Leaving for the county was a plan Zhang Lin had long intended, but he originally thought of staying a little longer to eat more meat to build up his body, yet unexpected events of murder and arson occurred, prompting him to not linger any longer and act sooner. The smoked meat was already prepared, which could last a short time in this weather without spoiling, and he could continue hunting on the way, not worrying about hunger with his full-level archery skill. Little Stone returned shortly, now holding a package in his hand. "Second brother, this is something Uncle Taro insisted on giving me. I didn't want to take it." Little Stone looked dejected, as if he had done something wrong. Zhang Lin took the package, opened it, and found it was some jerky, the kind that could be eaten directly, clearly meant for the brothers to use as travel provisions. "If he gave it to you, then keep it." Chapter 7-7, Flying Locust Stone. Early the next morning, Zhang Lin and his brother ate until they were full, placed their luggage on a wheelbarrow, strapped hunting knives to their waists, slung bows and arrows on their backs, and strode out of Lower River Village toward the rising sun. In truth, they didn't have much luggage. Just an iron pot, a few tattered clothes, and some smoked meat, which summed up their entire belongings. Zhang Lin, having transmigrated here, felt no attachment to Lower River Village apart from the memories left by his predecessor. Little Stone, just a child, was enveloped in the excitement of traveling afar, unaware that they might never return. Under the large locust tree at the village entrance, Uncle Taro watched the backs of Zhang Lin and his brother as they left, sighing deeply. The weather was clear, with blue skies and white clouds stretching infinitely. Little Stone, with his short legs, would sometimes run to the roadside to pick a flower, or crawl into the grass to catch insects, bursting with excitement. Zhang Lin pushed the wheelbarrow while pondering the future, heading south all the way. Black Mountain County is directly south of Lower River Village, 80 miles away with 4 mountain heads. Of course, that's the straight line distance. When measured by foot, it may well be 200 to 300 miles. Truly a remote and barren place. Zhang Lin thought with a sigh. This world is different from the previous one. It's an era where travel relies entirely on walking, and communication depends on shouting. A distance of 200 to 300 miles could take several days to cover. The small and large pair, along with the wheelbarrow, gradually moved far away, with Lower River Village slowly receding into the horizon. The two followed the river path without pausing. Whenever Little Stone got tired, he'd sit on the wheelbarrow, and Zhang Lin would continue pushing. By noon, they had walked a solid 40 miles. By midday, they stopped to start a fire and cook. They fetched water from the river, chopped wood from dead trees, foraged for some wild vegetables, and added some smoked meat. Though the taste wasn't great, it was enough to satiate them. After resting for an hour, they resumed their journey. In the afternoon, they walked for another 2 hours until a small hill appeared ahead, not very high, just over 200 meters. "Stone, don't sleep, observe the surroundings carefully, and inform me immediately if there's any situation," Zhang Lin instructed. The mountain harbored many fierce animals, and although the hill ahead wasn't tall, one never knew what dangers they might encounter. Being cautious was the safest bet. Stone, like a little adult, nodded heavily, straightened his body, and began scanning the surroundings with sharp eyes like a radar. Zhang Lin placed the bow from his back onto the wheelbarrow for easy access, maintaining constant vigilance. They ascended and then descended the mountain. All was safe and sound. Zhang Lin breathed a sigh of relief. It was best if nothing happened. After descending, a fork in the road, shaped like a Y, appeared in front of them, one veering left, the other right. Second brother, which way should we go? Zhang Shi bit his nail and turned to look at Zhang Lin. This way. Zhang Lin slightly adjusted the wheelbarrow and headed directly toward the right fork. Though the predecessor had never been to Black Mountain County, he had learned the route from his father and brothers, so they would likely not go the wrong way. Without pausing, the two continued along the mountain road as the sun began to set. They did not find a place to camp, but it wasn't worrisome. This road was frequently traveled, unlike other places full of wild animals at night. As long as they were cautious, formidable problems were unlikely at night. Of course, spending the night outdoors was a last resort. Besides nighttime predators, wind, rain, dew, or frost could be a serious concern, as this era lacked effective medicine. Often, a cold could be life-threatening. Fortunately, tonight's moon was bright with few stars, eliminating concerns about extreme weather. They gathered a pile of dry wood and lit a bonfire, then rested closely by each other. Little Stone quickly fell asleep, but Zhang Lin dared not sleep. This was the wilderness, after all, and even with two guts, he wouldn't dare sleep soundly. He had no intention of sleeping at night and planned to take a nap only after dawn. Finding an old piece of clothing, he covered Little Stone with it, and then rose, collected a pile of small stones at his feet, and tossed them toward a eucalyptus tree about 10 meters away. At first, due to the angle and strength, none hit their mark. However, after continuous adjustments, 3 or 4 out of 10 eventually hit. While throwing stones, Zhang Lin occasionally glanced at the system panel. At this time, the skill bar on the system panel still had only one lonely skill, bow technique. In the absence of any possibility of learning new skills, Zhang Lin could only rely on other methods to see if he could develop new skills. Such as the stone throwing skill he was currently practicing. In Water Margin, there was a hero nicknamed No Wing Arrow, who used stone throwing as a technique, endlessly defeating the heroes of Lingshan with his flying stone technique. I have the help of a system panel. As long as I form this skill, I can use skill points to max it out. I wonder if this will work. Whether it worked or not, without other methods to learn skills, he could only use this clumsy approach. Whiz, 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 whiz. Zhang Lin kept throwing stones. When he ran out, he would pick them up, and after collecting them, continue throwing. When his right hand tired, he used his left hand. By the end of the night, Zhang Lin's eyes were bloodshot, and dark circles were nearly panda-like, but he couldn't suppress a smile on his face. System. Host. Zhang Lin. Skills. Bow technique full level flying locust stone beginner. Skill points. Infinity. Indeed, the night's hard work had formed a skill. Flying stone, or flying locust stone, calling it that makes it sound so much cooler, Zhang Lin inwardly grumbled. Despite his grumbling, Zhang Lin knew it was called flying locust stone because the stones in flight resembled locusts, hence the name. The flying locust stone, as a hidden weapon, is arguably one of the most convenient and economical, available everywhere, costing nothing to acquire, taking no time to refine, and endlessly usable, picked up and used at will, extremely handy. With a thought, the infinity symbol in the skill points section flickered, and the word beginner in parentheses after flying locust stone instantly changed to full level. Before Zhang Lin could react, a wave of illusory memories surged in his mind, a recollection of himself picking up different stones every day to practice throwing. First, throwing at a tree trunk from a distance of 3 meters, then 4 meters, 5 meters, 10 meters. After mastering 10 meters and still easily hitting the trunk, he switched to smaller targets in his memory. Decades later, his memory self was able to easily pick up a stone off the ground and, from dozens of meters away, hit and knock down a bird mid-flight. Zhang Lin slowly opened his eyes, his expression filled with emotion. The system is indeed extraordinary. I now feel like I've practiced flying locust stone for decades, hitting any target effortlessly. Chapter 8-8. Refugees. Reaching down to pick up a stone from the ground, unlike before, he could easily feel the weight, hardness, and moisture of the stone, even how to exert force to make it fly the furthest, and what angle would cause the most damage. Aiming at a turtledove 20 meters away on a tree, he adjusted the angle. Swoosh! The stone flew over the turtledove's head, the sound of it cutting through the air startling it, making it stagger and quickly flap its wings to disappear into the forest. Zhang Lin's face turned dark. I knew it. Picking up another stone, this time he aimed at a blue stone about 15 meters away. Swoosh! The stone hit the target, right at the left corner that Zhang Lin was aiming for. Experience is experience. the Zhang Lin in memory practiced flying locust stone for decades, with great arm strength, naturally able to hit wherever he pointed, while I'm just a weakling with arms as thin as straw. Whether it's speed, power, or accuracy, there's no comparison. However, I can still easily hit targets about 10 meters away. Zhang Lin thought to himself. Yawned, a wave of drowsiness hit him, making Zhang Lin feel like he couldn't open his eyes. He woke up the sleeping little stone, instructed him not to run around, and then lay down to sleep. Over 3 hours later, Zhang Lin woke up from his slumber. Although still very sleepy, it was much better than before. He cooked a meal, still wild vegetables with smoked meat. After eating and drinking their fill, the two of them set off again. Yawning constantly along the way, they crossed the second hill, but fortunately, all was calm and peaceful. After descending the mountain and walking another 50 to 60 miles, they finally saw a village ahead on the road. Second brother, look! Little Stone shouted loudly, pointing at the houses in the distant village. Zhang Lin also smiled. After traveling for so long without seeing a soul, he had been worried, fearing he had taken the wrong path. After all, he had never been to Black Mountain County, and the route was all hearsay. This world doesn't even have a map or navigation system. If we really took the wrong path, who knows where we would end up. This should be Fu Niu village, let's go in and take a look, Zhang Lin said with a smile. Little Stone jumped off the wheelbarrow and hopped alongside Zhang Lin towards Fu Niu village. Wow, what a big cow, Little Stone exclaimed loudly, pointing at a huge blue stone at the village entrance. Zhang Lin also smiled. This blue stone was a natural rock, resembling a reclining blue cow, which is how Fu Niu village got its name. Seeing this blue stone confirmed to Zhang Lin that he had not taken the wrong path. Little Stone ran around the Fu Niu stone for a bit, exclaiming non-stop, until Zhang Lin urged him to reluctantly head towards Fu Niu village. Stop! Zhang Lin suddenly stopped and called for Little Stone to halt as well. What's wrong, second brother? Something's not right. Zhang Lin reached for the bow on his back, knocking an arrow and ready to release at any moment. Having crossed the mountain and traveled such a long way, it was now evening, and based on normal life habits they should have been starting fires to cook. Yet, all was silent in Fu Niu village, with no signs of life. Only a flock of crows circled above, cawing loudly. Zhang Lin's face grew serious. With the setting sun, the entire Fu Niu village was bathed in a red hue, which for some reason felt like a blood-stained scene. Let's go, back on the cart, let's get out of here. A sense of urgency surged in Zhang Lin's heart as he grabbed Little Stone and tossed him onto the wheelbarrow, then turned to leave. Wise men avoid standing under a dangerous wall. This world is not the same as the legally governed Washa of the past life. In the memories of his past life, stories of mountain bandits killing and robbing were common occurrences. Even though Zhang Lin had the system's full-level archery assistance, with his straw-like build, he'd run out of energy after shooting a few arrows. In such an uncertain and possibly dangerous situation, leaving was the best choice. Despite his young age, Little Stone was sensible enough not to question and just followed along. The two continued on their journey, distancing themselves from Fu Niu village until the sun completely set and they could barely see the road ahead. Looking back at the now invisible Fu Niu village, Zhang Lin breathed a sigh of relief. Looks like we'll be camping out again tonight. Stone, go gather some dry wood nearby, but don't wander off. Okay, Little Stone toddled off to gather firewood, while Zhang Lin searched for dry leaves to start a fire. The water in the water bag wasn't sufficient, so they didn't cook a meal, sustaining themselves with jerky given by Uncle Taro. Zhang Lin remained awake the entire night, more cautious than the previous night, not even practicing the flying locust stone for fear of any unforeseen incidents. The night passed without a word and without incident. Seems I was just overthinking. Zhang Lin sighed in relief, yawning as he woke Little Stone and then lay down to sleep until the sun was high, and then he reluctantly got up, face full of drowsiness. Let's go. Hopefully, we can reach our destination today. Okay. Using cold water to wash down some jerky, they once again set off on their journey. As they continued forward, Zhang Lin noticed the road becoming wider, even seeing tracks on the path. When they crossed another mountain hill, a wide avenue came into view, wide enough for a carriage. Second brother, look, there are people. After 3 days of not seeing anyone, even Little Stone felt weary, and upon suddenly seeing figures ahead, he was filled with excitement and shouted loudly, pointing into the distance. I see them, let's catch up. Zhang Lin nodded, lifted Little Stone back onto the wheelbarrow, and turned it onto the avenue. As they got closer, Zhang Lin was able to make out the features of these people, frowning deeply. The first group was a family of 4, a man and a woman with 2 children. The man walked ahead carrying a yoke, while the woman trailed behind, holding a child in each hand. All 4 were disheveled, emaciated, with sallow skin and deeply sunken eyes. Zhang Lin looked further ahead. Most of the other travelers had similar appearances. Some even had no belongings at all, barefoot, leaning on makeshift wooden sticks, all appearing woefully thin and haggard. Refugees. Zhang Lin sighed internally, immediately understanding their situation, and developing a deeper awareness of the severity of the drought. Lower River Village hadn't seen rain for 3 months, the land parched, crops failed, but at least it had a river flowing through and was close to a branch of Black Mountain, allowing for hunting. But it's hard to say for other places. The Black Mountain range is vast, with many other settlements, villages, and towns, and not everyone has a river like Lower River Village. Seeing it this way, Lower River Village isn't the worst off, and it's no wonder Uncle Taro discouraged them from leaving. Now it seems that things outside might be worse than at home. Chapter 9-9 There are bandits ahead. The appearance of Zhang Lin and his brother was not unusual. After all, many people were fleeing like this. The only difference was that they were not as haggard and emaciated. Although Zhang Lin and Zhang Shi looked quite frail, they were much stronger compared to those refugees who were emaciated with sallow faces. Zhang Lin, with a wary expression, used some old clothes to cover the bag of meat and signaled to Little Stone with his eyes. Little Stone, being clever, tilted his body to press the food bag beneath him. Zhang Lin recalled the classic line from his past life, in times of disaster, humans are no longer humans. As long as there's food, they can do anything. This food was the very basis of survival for the brothers, and they would not allow anyone to take it away. Zhang Lin silently pushed the wheelbarrow forward at a slightly faster pace than the others, but without attracting attention. Unknowingly, there were fewer and fewer refugees around Zhang Lin. Turning his head, he saw all had been left behind, yet he kept moving, walking faster and faster. Suddenly, a disheveled figure darted out, pouncing on Little Stone like a mad dog, or more precisely, on the bag beneath Little Stone. Second brother. Little Stone cried out in shock, but still held onto the bag tightly without letting go. Almost simultaneously, Zhang Lin drew the machete from his waist and slashed diagonally with a swift motion. Thud! The machete, sharpened by Zhang Lin, cut across the person's abdomen, leaving a trail of blood. Ah! A piercing scream rang out, followed by the refugee falling to the ground, his abdomen slashed open, revealing wriggling entrails within. Zhang Lin didn't strike again but instead picked up Little Stone, holding him in his arms. He pointed the machete at the refugee on the ground, ready to act again at any moment. The refugee lay on the ground screaming in pain, terrifying the surrounding people who quickly backed away in fear. Zhang Lin could then see the person's face clearly, a young man, not very old, with sunken eyes and cracked lips, clearly in a state of prolonged hunger. After a while, the young refugee stopped screaming and lay motionless on the ground. Already on the brink of starvation, being slashed by Zhang Lin meant he couldn't survive in such circumstances. Zhang Lin narrowed his eyes slightly, scanning the area. All the refugees who met his gaze were filled with fear and dared not approach. Let's go. Putting Little Stone back on the wheelbarrow, Zhang Lin pushed through the crowd, striding forward. Little Stone clutched the bag of food like a little wolf dog guarding its food, baring his teeth at those around, looking fiercely cute and menacing. Young brother. Just as Zhang Lin stepped out of the crowd, a voice called from afar, followed by a middle-aged man approaching, cupping his hands in greeting. Zhang Lin scrutinized the middle-aged man, who was rough in appearance, wearing hemp clothing and a face full of stubble. With a cleaver at his waist and arms thicker than average, he didn't look like a fleeing refugee. Zhang Lin discreetly gripped his machete with his right hand while his left hand reached for the leather bag filled with stones. What's the matter? The middle-aged man saw Zhang Lin's defensive gestures, spread his hands to demonstrate harmless intentions, and smiled. Young brother, no need to be anxious. My name is Zhu Jia, from Zhu Family Town. We are not refugees, just relocating with my clansmen to Black Mountain County. I saw your skill earlier and thought we might team up, mutually supporting each other. What do you think? Zhang Lin glanced behind the middle-aged man, noticing 4 flat wagons in the distance. Each wagon was pulled by a yellow ox, with people sitting on the front and rear wagons. In between, there were 4 large wooden boxes and some children and women. Surrounding the wagons were 6 men, each carrying weapons, mostly hunting knives and bows. Zhang Lin understood that this group was likely also heading to Black Mountain County to escape the disaster. However, compared to ordinary people, they were better off, not suffering from hunger or cold. They approached Zhang Lin likely because they feared other desperate refugees on the road, thinking an extra person meant more strength. Zhang Lin didn't know these people and didn't want any trouble, so he directly declined, "Thank you for the invitation, but no need." Seeing Zhang Lin's refusal, the middle-aged man quickly added, "Young brother, don't refuse just yet. To reach Black Mountain County, you must cross 2 mountains. The first one is plagued by bandits and robbers. With just you and your brother, it will be hard to stay safe. I'm not bluffing. There's a Fu Niu village behind. The villagers were slaughtered by the mountain bandits, and none survived." Zhang Lin's eyes narrowed. Fu Niu village. So it was true. Yesterday's feeling wasn't wrong. The village really was attacked. No wonder there wasn't a sound or a trace of people at mealtime, they were all killed. "Young brother, how about you?" "No need, goodbye." Zhang Lin didn't continue talking to the middle-aged man and left, pushing the wheelbarrow away, leaving the man visibly disappointed, eventually turning and walking away helplessly. Zhang Lin glanced at the departing middle-aged man. Bandits were terrifying, but those people were not to be trusted either. Joining them might indeed increase the chance of survival, but he could also become their scapegoat. If he were alone, it wouldn't matter much, he could run if needed. But since he had Little Stone with him, it wasn't so simple. Shaking his head, Zhang Lin quickened his pace, bypassing the refugees and turning into a roadside forest, swiftly moving through the trees until he stopped by a small earthen slope. "Let's settle here. Little Stone, gather some firewood." Zhang Lin skillfully built a stove with stones, took some smoked meat and brown rice from his bag, and put them in the pot, pouring water from his canteen over them. He started a fire, with some dry leaves, and soon Little Stone brought over some branches he picked up in the forest. Soon, the food was ready. The smoked meat's fat permeated the rice, and the salty, savory flavor merged with the rice aroma, boosting their appetite. The 2 brothers enjoyed their meal with much satisfaction. For the past few days, they've had meat every meal. While it may not be entirely nutritious, they were certainly not lacking, and both had started to gain some weight, no longer looking skinny like before. After eating, they didn't start traveling immediately. Instead, Little Stone stood watch while Zhang Lin took a nap. 2 consecutive nights of watch duty left him severely sleep-deprived, and he needed to be well rested in case they encountered bandits, ready to flee at a moment's notice. Lu Xuan once said, "Encountering a tiger doesn't mean you must run fast enough to escape, just faster than the others." Chapter 10-10, Negotiation. After sleeping for an hour, Zhang Lin was awakened by Little Stone's call. He shook his head, dazed for a moment, then the 2 set off again, taking a detour before returning to the main road. There were still refugees on the road, but this time Zhang Lin had smeared some tree sap on the meat bags to mask the smell. The effect was quite good as they didn't encounter any more refugees trying to rob them on the road. About 2 hours later, they finally reached the hill that the middle-aged man had mentioned. Compared to the 2 hills they had previously crossed, this one was taller and able to conceal people. Zhang Lin gathered his spirits, placed the bow and arrow within easy reach, and began to push the wheelbarrow up the mountain step by step. "The mountain bandits are coming. Run, run," calls echoed from ahead, and soon they saw many people running down from the mountain top. Pushing and shoving caused a great commotion, with some unfortunate souls falling and rolling down the slope, either crashing into trees or rolling all the way down. Zhang Lin's expression changed. He immediately tossed the wheelbarrow to the side and grabbed the bow and arrow in hand. Little Stone also jumped off the wheelbarrow, tightly clutching the bag of food in his arms. It was fortunate that most of the smoked meat in the bag had been consumed over the past few days. If not, Little Stone wouldn't have been able to carry it with his strength. "Let's go." Zhang Lin turned and ran towards the dense forest on the left, with Little Stone gritting his teeth and closely following behind. The child of a poor family becomes mature early. Well-versed in life and death, Little Stone knew crying wouldn't solve anything, the only thing to do was not to drag his second brother down. A short while later, the 2 entered the dense forest, hiding behind a large tree, watching the refugees frantically fleeing in the distance. Zhang Lin frowned, whispering, "Stone, you hide well. I'm going out to take a look. Be careful, second brother." A trace of fear flashed in Little Stone's eyes, but he still nodded heavily. Zhang Lin looked at Little Stone, obviously only 5 or 6 years old, who in his previous life might have just started elementary school or hadn't even graduated from kindergarten. A look of pity flashed in his eyes as he reached out to pat his head. "Don't worry, second brother will be fine. Stay here and wait for me, don't go out." With that, he swiftly darted out of the dense forest. He needed to figure out what was happening on the mountain. This path was a must-take route to Black Mountain County. If they detoured, who knows how long it would take or what dangers they might encounter, so he had to find out. "Stop." Zhang Lin grabbed a refugee fleeing down the mountain, raising the hatchet in his hand and placing it against the man's neck. "Good, kind hero, spare my life." The refugee was so frightened by Zhang Lin's sudden appearance that he thought a mountain bandit had chased him down. He fell to his knees with a thud, a stench of urine coming from his crotch. "I have an 80-year-old mother above and a baby needing care below, kind hero, spare my life." Zhang Lin's face turned dark, such familiar lines. "Shut up, answer what I ask you. How many bandits are on the mountain?" The man was stunned by Zhang Lin's question, but feeling the cold hatchet on his neck, he quickly said, "I don't know either. Those mountain bandits are hiding in the forest on the mountain, demanding we all leave some money to pass. If we don't, they come out to kill. I was too scared, so I ran. Damn it, go away. Oh, thank you, kind hero, thank you, kind hero." Zhang Lin used the same method on a few other refugees, and the information he gathered was basically the same. They only knew there were mountain bandits on the mountain but didn't know how many. "This is troublesome." Zhang Lin's expression turned grim. Although this hill wasn't a necessary route to Black Mountain County, detouring could bring unknown experiences or perhaps more mountain bandits, so without other safe routes, the current one seemed the best option. As Zhang Lin was thinking, many refugees at the foot of the mountain gathered together. "It's them." Zhang Lin's eyes brightened as if he thought of something. He quickly returned to the dense forest, took Little Stone in his arms, and ran over. Village Chief Zhang, have you thought it through?" The one speaking was Zhu Jia from Zhu Family Town, who had previously invited Zhang Lin. At this moment, dozens of ox carts and their owners were gathered on an open ground, discussing strategies. Village Chief Zhang's face was solemn as he said, "The bandits on the mountain are actually just a group of rebels taking advantage of the situation. They know this hill is a necessary route to Black Mountain County, so they block the road to rob. Although they're nothing more than a motley crew, even if we force our way through, we'd suffer heavy losses. Isn't it simple? If they can gather rioters, we can also gather refugees. As long as we rally these refugees to attack uphill, we can take advantage of the chaos to pass through," Zhu Jia said casually. If Zhang Lin heard these words, he would be grateful for not accepting this man's invitation earlier. The notion of gathering refugees to attack bandits, simply put, was to use the refugees as cannon fodder, and the casualness of his words showed his sinister nature. "I agree with Brother Ju's method." "Indeed, I agree too." An elder stood out and scanned the crowd before saying, "We could first talk with the bandit leader. If the demand isn't too much, we can negotiate. If talks fail, we force through." The group exchanged glances and nodded. They preferred to negotiate before fighting since bladed weapons don't have eyes. After further discussing specific details, they began rallying refugees to push towards the mountaintop again. Zhang Lin, carrying Little Stone, followed in the crowd inconspicuously, his eyes vigilantly observing the surroundings, ready for battle or escape at any moment. Not long after, they reached the mountaintop. Zhu Jia stepped forward, cupped his hands, and shouted, "Which one of you is the Grand Master? Come out for a chat." After a while, a black-faced man emerged from the woods. This man, with a full beard, a broad back, and a fierce look, gave the impression of a notorious figure. "I am the mountain tiger here, if you have something to say, spit it out." The voice was full of savage ferocity, intimidating the mountain forest. "Greetings, Master, Mountain Tiger. We are but refugees, hoping you can spare us. Here are 300 large coins as a gesture for your tea," Zhu Jia said with a humble demeanor, showing none of the ruthlessness he displayed earlier when he proposed using the refugees as cannon fodder. The bandit leader chuckled coldly, "Just 300 large coins to send me off, feed a beggar. Even if I agreed, my brothers wouldn't." "Right, brothers. Yeah, are we a charity? Just 300 large coins aren't enough for our brothers to drink. They look down on us." In no time, the bandits were howling and spewing all sorts of foul language.